Over the years, Minecraft has had its fair share of controversies. Many additions have been added which have split the player base in half, but one of the most divisive versions of Minecraft is version 1.9, the combat update. 1.9 was a huge update. It added a whole new part of the game, that being the outer end island and their structures, along with the elytra which extended the endgame of Minecraft. There was also the shield, an essential early game item, and with the shield came the secondary hotbar, which was a great change. But easily the biggest change was the addition of cooldown to weapons. Gone were the days of spam clicking and sword blockings. Lots of people hated this update, and in fact they still hate it to this day, and servers are still stuck with 1.8.9 combat. But was the update really that bad? Well, in this video, I will be surviving 100 days in Minecraft's most controversial update. Enjoy. Day 1 started like most day 1s. I broke down a nearby tree and made myself a crafting table. I made some tools and began digging for cobblestone. I have 3 goals in mind for these 100 days. My first goal is to get a full diamond armor set. My second goal is to beat the game and get the elytra. And my third goal? Finding a village. Now, villages kind of suck in this version, but I really love the old village look, so I really want to find one. Anyways, after mining enough to make a full set of tools, I began looking for an area to build my base. At first I found this mini clearing and began placing my stuff down, but I stumbled upon a better spot to build my base, so I decided to move. This spot was great. It was surrounded by a taiga and it had a nice river, so I mined some wood and began making a bed to skip to day 2. Day 2, I began the foundations for my first house. Unlike nowadays, there are not that many wood types, so I decided to use logs for the frame and oak wood for the inside. I don't know what to call it, like, it's not the frame, but whatever. I then created a farm and did some exploring. I also want to mention that achievements are glitched in this version for some reason, so sometimes even though I should get the achievement, I don't, and then I will randomly get it later. After exploring a bit, I went to sleep. Day 3, I began digging down. I want to make a ladder to Y11 for easier access to the mines, so that's what I began doing. After a little bit though, I got bored and began working more on the house. Also, the diorite floors are not permanent, so please ignore them. I worked on the house all day before going to sleep. Day 4 is more house building, so fun! I am taking it really slow. Not only am I just not good at Minecraft, but I also enjoy not trying to rush to the end game. Sometimes it's better to build a nice little house than to beat the game in 1 hour. After that, I explored a nearby cave. I was able to find some iron and coal. I left shortly after, and despite being small, I got some good resources, so I'm happy. And I finished the day off by working more on my house. Yay! Day 5 is roofing. Oh god, my roof will probably look terrible, but you know what? That's okay. Actually, it's not so bad. I mean, I like it at least. I took a break from roofing to begin digging more and stumbled upon a massive ravine. You know, I probably shouldn't have gone into this cave, but I did and I got what I deserved. I'm really glad I'm not playing on hardcore mode. Day 6, I spent most of the day just trying to get my stuff back. It took much longer than I expected and I died many times. I did eventually get my stuff back. After healing a bit and getting my stuff back, I began exploring the cave some more and lighting it up. I also found a mob spawner, which is huge. Too bad I forget about it till like day 40. I escaped the cave to find it was already nighttime and I had gotten nothing done today. Well, I did because I got iron, but like, I could have been roofing. Day 7 thankfully would be spent roofing. Now this is what we all came for. I also managed to smelt some iron armor and you can tell I was pretty excited. You know, a lot of people get armor on day 1, but me, what can I say? I'm just playing at my own pace. I then began setting up a cow farm. I don't like doing this, but it's necessary for survival. Day 8, I began actually building the inside of my house. Along with that, I led more cows to the pen. I made a path too. It's so cute. I love Minecraft. I then added glass to the house and roofed some more. What a great way to spend my time. Day 9, the roof is finally finished. This is a miracle. And with a bed, this house is now a home. It's beautiful, isn't it? After that, I began a storage room. I know, the diorite floors are still there, but they'll be fixed soon, I promise. Day 10, I added chests to my storage room. I then began working on a wheat farm. Cows need food so they can make more cows and I can eat. I tried to go with a design, but scrapped it immediately because it looked horrible. And as the sun began to set, I started placing water in the farm. Day 11 is more of the same, but that's Minecraft for you. After finishing the farm, I went to brave the ravine again. I got scared though and blocked it off. If I can't see it, then it isn't real. I then began making a shoot down to Y11, but was rudely interrupted by this zombie. After that jump scare, it was more dirt placing. It doesn't matter what blocks I use because I don't have to look at it much. After a long day of placing dirt and praying a zombie wouldn't randomly attack me, I went to sleep. Day 12, I finally made it to Y11. I then prepared for a mining trip. I mined for the entire day and found lots of resources. No diamonds though, but hey, lapis is cool too, I guess. Day 13, I worked on my farm, and please excuse this absolutely terrible design. I promise I will scrap it soon. I also planted more sugarcane. Soon, this farm will be huge. I then breeded the cows. Not much went on this day, but I'm liking how the base is looking right now. Day 14, I'm back in the mines. I found this cave and began exploring. Diamonds! We're rich! Almost died trying to get these diamonds. That would have been embarrassing. First thing I made was a diamond sword and pickaxe. I think everybody would. I then began mining obsidian to make a portal. Day 15, I felt luxurious, so I made corners on my portal. I then crafted an enchantment table. Let's go. I also built a small little fountain because I like little things like that in my world. You know, on day 15, this world really is coming together. I then entered the Nether just to check out my surroundings. And as I turned the corner, there was a Nether fortress. This is great. I hate the Nether, so being near a fortress saves so much time. Day 16 started with me taking care of the cows. I then began building my enchanting room using the cobblestone and andesite I had collected while mining. I want to go for sort of a wizard type of thingy. I really don't know how to describe it, but it got late, so I will continue later. Day 17 is more of the same, but with the power of editing, I can show you the finished product on day 18. Pretty epic, right? I wanted to add some shrubs around my path, so I spent time shearing leaves and placing leaves. Yeah, day 18 was a pretty boring day, but hey, I gotta pass time somehow, right? Day 19, we are mining. Yay! No diamonds, but maybe next time? Day 20, I'm starting on the project that will last the next 80 days. As you see, I'm gathering materials. Why? Well, I'm making monuments. Or, I don't know what to call these, but whatever it is, they'll be built every 8 to 10 days, and the blocks will symbolize an achievement or just a general theme. Day 1 to 10 will be based on the 3 different wood types I acquired during them, so birch, oak, and spruce. Day 11 through 20 will be made out of blocks I gathered from mining. I wanted to make the 2 out of iron, but I scrapped it because iron is really expensive. So I switched to quartz and had an insanely hard time making it 2. Don't worry, like most things in this video, I will fix it later. Day 21 started with me organizing the chest. Give it 30 days and I will just start throwing stuff in there. I spent around half the day doing that, and then I made enough bookshelves to max out my enchanting table. I also added a neat little light. Day 22 was more farming and breeding cows. I then went mining and found diamonds. This is huge. After that though, it was pretty stale mining. Day 23 started with this creeper jumping down on me. I found even more diamonds, but there was an evil zombie guarding it. Wow, getting a lot of diamonds. I might be able to get full armor soon. In fact, this creeper just blew up and exposed even more. Imagine if I didn't let that creeper blow up. After a successful mining trip, I went back up. I then made some diamond armor. I am only 2 diamonds away from getting a full set. So, day 24, that's what I set out to do. I also enchanted my pickaxe and got fortune 3. So, when I found a vein of diamonds, I left with more than I needed. With that, I now have full diamond armor. As you can tell from all the shaking, I was hyped. Day 25 started with me spending a little bit too much time trying to make an armor stand. When I did eventually make one, I placed my old iron armor onto it. I don't know, I guess it's kind of honorary? I don't know. I did a tiny bit of exploring just to check out some of the tigers around my home. I was hoping to find a dog, but sadly, I did not. Day 26, it's Netherin time. With full diamond armor, I will probably be fine, but I was still worried, so I played it safe. I spent most of the time bridging over to the blaze spawner and creating a roof around it in order for them not to fly away. It took me almost the whole day, but eventually I left with 14 blaze rods. It was raining when I returned to the overworld. Pretty ironic after spending the whole day in hell. Day 27, I crafted a brewing stand, which, by the way, I never use. I also made Eyes of Ender and used one of them just to see where the direction of the Stronghold was. I'm not going there now, however. I want to save it for later. I enchanted my sword and got Fire Aspect 2, ew. Whatever. At least I get free steak. I also enchanted my armor. The enchants all suck, by the way. I just like how enchanted armor looks. And before the sun set, I began the construction of a bridge connecting the base to my soon-to-be industrial zone. Day 28, I am finally getting rid of that ugly farm design. I also finished the bridge, which is huge. Day 29, I am expanding the farm in order to make more food for me and the cows. It's pretty boring to watch, unless you want to watch me place water for 10 minutes. By the end of the day, however, the farm was looking pretty good if I do say so myself. Just another day of farming and chores, nothing interesting. Forgot to build the day 30 sign, but I will remember soon. I went mining if that interests you. Day 31, I am back in the Nether gathering resources. That is because my day 30 monument will be made out of Nether resources because I, went to the Nether? Yeah. It took me a while to figure out how I wanted this to look and how tall it would be, but I got it and I like it. I also spruced up the Nether portal. I sort of made it look like the Nether was infesting the overworld. Isn't that creative? Day 32, I felt like the base was kind of plain, so I added some saplings to hopefully make it more interesting. I then began work on my mob farm because I am in desperate need of XP. I also kind of just forgot about my zombie spawner. So, Day 33 is just more constructing. It's really boring. Day 34, the building continues. Day 35 is the same thing, but I finished today. I spammed as many torches as I could, hoping it would make it faster. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work well. Day 36, I admired my mob farm. Call me crazy, but I actually like the way mob farms look. I don't know why. Anyways, it's time to farm. Hooray! At the end of the day, I pillared up and just looked at my base. It was all coming together. Day 37, I am laying down the foundations for a new building I want to make. I wanted to make a lighthouse and I needed a lot of wool for that, so I began making a giant pen for sheep. I spent all day and night building and luring 2 sheep into this pen. Day 38, I dyed them red so I could make the lighthouse. I needed some food, so I went exploring in search of either a village or cows, but I found something almost as good. A dark oak forest! This is my favorite wood, so I got as much as I could. I then ran back home during the night with lots of wood and 4 saplings to replant at my base. When I made it back though, I decided to light more of the base to keep monsters out. It was really annoying, but once I get some good light coverage, I won't have to worry about creepers sneaking up on me. I spent the entire night doing that and watched the sunrise on day 39. Like promised, I am ripping up the ugly old floor and replacing it with dark oak. I think it looks a lot better. I then began working on a lookout tower. Yeah, I scrapped the lighthouse idea. Too much work. I need cobble for it though, so I spent some time mining. And as the sun set, I got half of the tower thing done. Day 40. We are almost halfway done. I just spent the entire time on the watchtower. I think it's coming together. I wanted a flag, so I used some of the sheep to get wool. But the day was coming to an end, so that's a day 41 problem. Day 41, the flag is done. I like how the watchtower looks. It's small, but cute. I then also worked on the day 40 monument. I made lapis blocks and used the dark oak I found for this one. I think it represents exploration? I don't really know what the idea was behind this, but it looks nice in my opinion. Day 42, I remembered about the old mob spawner, so I went searching for it. Along with that, I wanted to light up this cave. It took me almost a whole day, but I found it, so now it's time to get to work. I dug up to see where I was, and it was right underneath the river next to my house, which is really good. Day 43, I just spent the entire time making a staircase down. Yep, pretty interesting, and it took longer than you think. Well, the actual staircase didn't take long. I just spent most of the time looking for a tutorial that was 1.12 and under. Day 44, I began building the farm. It's really simple. I'm sure most of you guys have seen someone else do it or built one in your own world. Yes, it is day 45 now because I'm the most careful and slowest Minecraft player ever. Day 46, however, it is done. It works extremely well, and this is going to be great for XP. So, I decided to leave my setup to eat dinner and let the zombies pour in. I went up 9 entire levels in 10 minutes. That's amazing. Day 47, I decided to build a tiny hut above my farm. I think it adds character and keeps it safe. I didn't really know what to do today. Maybe could have sat at the farm, but nope, just decided to watch the sunset. Day 48, I added unbreaking to my pickaxe. So basically, I have one of the best pickaxes you can get. Yeah, efficiency 5, unbreaking 3, and fortune 3. This is awesome. However, it costs all my levels, so it's back to the farm. This is really interesting gameplay, isn't it? By the time I left, the sun was rising and it was now day 49. Today, I am building my day 50 monument. I decided to build it out of mossy cobble to represent my mob farm. Also, because I just have a ton of mossy cobble left over, what else am I going to use it for? I kind of like it, yeah. Also decided to work on another project, a maze. I'm not going to show where the end prize is, just a little troll. Heh. Yes, it is a single player world and no one will ever play on it but me. But just let me have fun, okay? Day 50, we are now halfway done. So, what are we doing on this special occasion? I did watch the sunset on top of my lookout tower, so that's kind of cool. What I'm really doing is hunting for endermen. My sword has looting, so getting ender pearls should be easier. I brought boats as well to make it even easier. By the end of the night, I had 8 ender pearls, which is pretty awesome. Day 51, I used those ender pearls along with some extras I had to craft 10 Eye of Enders. Now it's Stronghold in time. Took me a while, but I found where it was and it was underwater. After a little bit of mining, I found it. The Stronghold. I began looking for the ender portal. Day 52 was more of the same. I felt like I was walking around forever and I kept walking in circles. So I decided to use sound captions and I was able to hear silverfish meaning one thing. Finally! Yes! I didn't have enough Eyes of Ender, but I'm not planning on going to the end yet, at least not until like day 70. So I made my way out and made a giant pillar so I could find it later. I then made my way back to the base. Thankfully it wasn't too far, so I made it back to the base in like 5 minutes. Day 53 I just did chores. I was really just waiting till nighttime so I could get ender pearls. By the end of the night I was able to get 6 ender pearls, but I wanted more just to be safe. Day 54 is just another boring day. I just sat in the mob farm the whole time. Day 55, I began working on a new room. I was making a furnace room. Again, like I mentioned earlier, my achievements are glitched for some reason, so this is really annoying, but oh well. Honestly, this is probably the ugliest room I have ever made. In fact, probably one of the ugliest anyone has ever made in the history of Minecraft. Good thing it's underground, meaning if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. Day 56 was just a nothing of a day, I'm gonna skip it. Day 57, I'm making my day 60 statue early. I decided to use the materials found at the Stronghold to represent me finding the Stronghold. I don't mind the look of it. It'll be covered up by the day 70 signs anyway. I then went mining because I was running low on materials. 2 creepers jumped down on me and it scared me so bad. However, one of them exposed diamond. As I was mining though, I was jump scared again. That was really all I found during the mining trip, but it's better than nothing. Day 58, I made a shovel. I then sat in the farm to get XP to enchant it. Except, when I enchanted it, I only got Unbreaking 3. I then decided to make a snow golem because I'm bored and I love snow golems. I accidentally killed him. I made another one though, and his name is Sam, and I'll try not to kill him. I wanted to deck out his home and make it feel more comfortable, so I began adding snow to the walls. But, yeah, accidentally killed Sam. I went to sleep with a heavy heart that night. Day 59, I created a new snow golem, and I named him Tommy. Tommy will live a comfortable life in this hole. I didn't want Sam to be forgotten though, so I made a grave. I also found out you can't place certain blocks on walls in this version, so... sorry, Sam. Day 60 is here! I decided to enjoy my day 60 by sitting in the zombie farm the entire time, but that gave me a lot of XP, so with my belly full of XP, I slept well. Day 61 started off with me getting an amazing enchantment on my new shovel. With that shovel, I began evening out the base a bit. I started covering up this big puddle thing which has been really bothering me. I also did the same with this cave. I also added some walls around the path. I think they look sort of nice. Day 62, I enchanted this book for some reason. I don't know why I did this. I lost some levels from it, so I went to the zombie farm. But by the end, I was able to get to level 31. Day 63, I added a balcony to my house. Yeah, not much. Well, that's not all I did, but everything else was just really boring, so... Day 64, I'm back in the mines. I found another mob spawner, that's insane. And the chest had name tags! This is amazing! I wasn't really looking for diamonds, I was more looking for coal, because I'm running really low. I really like the old caves in Minecraft, something about the new ones can just overwhelm me a bit. The new ones definitely are objectively more interesting and fun, but I don't know, I will always prefer the old ones. Anyways, I left the mines after shortly exploring that cave. Day 65, I'm building a base around my nether portal. I feel so exposed whenever I enter the nether, so I decided to build a little castle thing around it. While I was building, a ghast started shooting at me. This is exactly why I'm building this base. I left the nether, crafted flint and steel, and entered it again. I then killed the ghast. Day 66 started with me trying to make red glass. I genuinely didn't know how to. I figured it out though. I use red glass because the nether's red. I know, I'm really smart and good at building. I then constructed this bridge staircase type thing. Trust me, once I start making nether highways, this bridge will come in handy and just make everything so much faster. By the end of the day, it was finished and it makes me feel a lot safer. Day 67, I fixed the 2 because it looked horrible. It looks a lot better now and actually looks like the number 2. I then went down to the zombie farm to get XP. I made an incinerator because the chests were getting filled with useless items that I would never use. Day 68 was more AFK action. After that, I began preparing for the end. That was really it, I'm just waiting for the end fight. Day 69, I am building my day 70 sign. I am making it out of snow for Tommy, and more importantly, for my fallen snow golems. Even though it was day 59 I got Tommy, I still made it for day 70 because I really didn't do anything for days 61 through 69. It took me almost the entire day before I was happy with it. Day 70, I said hello to Tommy. I was really just seeing if he had despawned or not. I fixed up some of my armor as well as getting prepared for the end fight. I spent the whole day preparing. I would be lying if I said I wasn't scared. I mean, I won't lose this world. It's not hardcore, it's just that if I lost my stuff, I would be very sad. Day 71, I am off. Only took me like 5 minutes to get there because as I said before, it's relatively close. It's kind of anticlimactic without any sound, but boom! It's been lit. Guys, let's do this. Day 72, I entered the end, and I was shaking. Yeah, I almost died here. I told you I suck. Okay, but you have to admit, that water bucket clutch was really epic. I took my time, slowly building up to each pillar. I had a bow in my chest. I just forgot to bring it. I spent my whole day preparing and I somehow forgot one of the most important items. After getting the last crystal and almost dying, I can finally actually start killing the dragon. It was smooth sailing from there. Again, I took my time and stayed focused. And after 72 days, I finally defeated the Ender Dragon. No matter how many times I beat this game, just watching the Ender Dragon disintegrate always makes me smile and feel extremely satisfied. Of course, I got the dragon egg. How could I not? Day 73, I went back through the portal. I'm saving the end cities for a couple days later. I need to restock. I then built a portal to go to the Nether. I am making another highway back to my base. This will save so much time. I emerged near the fortress, meaning I was close to the main portal. And boom, we are back. Going to sleep on day 73 felt so rewarding. Day 74, I placed the dragon egg on a gold block to show off how wealthy I was. I then wasted all my levels on enchanting books. Honestly though, I got some good enchants like feather falling, so it wasn't a complete waste. And then I watched the sun set on day 74. Day 75 is back to the end. Let's go! I took my time getting to the gateway. I didn't want to fall. I eventually entered. The first thing I did was build up to get these chorus flowers. Everything was going great. I was in the outer ends and I was so close to getting the elytra. Nothing could go wrong. Oh look, I have an ender pearl. Let's throw it towards this island so I don't have to bridge. Day 76, I was able to find some leftover tools and armor in the storage room, but as you can tell, I was super upset. I went back to the end this time, deciding not to throw any ender pearls. And then I saw it. The end city with a ship! Yes! The elytra! The room also had some pretty good tools and armor. Things were looking up. That is, until I somehow looked at an enderman when flying down. I tried to run to the outer island, knowing I would probably die, but it was too late. I really wanted to quit here. I was so desperate for armor, I broke my armor stand. I then farmed carrots to make golden ones and went to sleep. Day 77, I decided to go back. What could I really lose? And besides, if I could find 1 or 2 good end cities, I could come back. I found some old stuff which included a chest plate, so things were looking better. Day 78, I stood on top of the old end city and scanned the area. I saw nothing, so I just decided to run in one direction and pray I would find one. I did find a mini end city. While not being a ship, I could find chests here and possibly get armor. I did get a chest plate, some diamonds, and boots. Day 79, I'm still running around looking for an end city or ship. I spent around 20 minutes finding absolutely nothing. I was genuinely losing my mind. Day 80, however, I found one. Now let's try not to die. I dug for endstone and then used that endstone to build up. Once I got inside, I killed the shulker, and for the second time, I got the elytra. Inside the chest were some great stuff too. I also found leggings. Let's pretend that I didn't die and that this is the first elytra, okay? I then started looking through old footage in order to find the cords for the gateway. I got the dragon head too, don't worry. After finding the cords, I set off with my elytra. Though I messed up, so now I have to pillar up and fly again. But now, we were finally setting off to the gateway. At long last, 2 out of my 3 goals were completed. It didn't take too long and I was already there. I almost died fighting these endermen. That would have been really embarrassing. But finally, I was able to leave. Day 81, I spawned back at my base and a wave of relief washed over my body. I began working on my day 80 statue, but I came to the horrible discovery. I didn't have enough endstone. No! 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 There we go. The rest of my day was spent in the XP farm. Day 82, I upgraded my armor stand and it looks awesome. I also upgraded the day 80 statue. It represents my struggle in the end. Today I also found out you can repair elytras with leather in this version, which is really awesome. I'm glad I never have to go back to the end. Day 83, I wanted to build a big pillar up to max height in order to take flight with my elytra. So I gathered netherrack because it was the easiest to get, so I could do that. Now I am building up, and honestly, it just makes the world feel so much larger from up here. I then set off. I wonder what cool biomes I'll find. Hang on, is that— oh my god, it's a village! The villagers were very friendly to me, which made me feel bad seeing their village was in such terrible condition. Finding this village means all my goals are complete. This is amazing. After finding it, I pillared up and flew home. It's only a couple hundred blocks away from my house. This is amazing. Day 84, I farmed up all my sugarcane to prepare trading with the villagers. I had to defend this villager from an evil creeper. That would have been really bad if I wasn't here. I got enough emeralds to make a block out of them. I then headed home. Day 85, I farmed up all my wheat to trade it with a farmer. As you can see, I was really excited to find this village. I also mined cobblestone. That creeper attack inspired me to build a wall around the village in order to keep out monsters. So, day 86, I set out to do just that. It took me a while, and the wall isn't perfectly square. This village is in really rough shape. But that is why I am here. I began filling in holes too. Can't let these villagers fall into caves, can I? At night, I lit the inner wall to ensure no monsters could harm these villagers. I felt proud when flying home. Not only did I protect these villagers, but I also exploited all of their trades and made me richer. Day 87, I began working on my day 90 sign. It's early, but I can't help myself. I am so excited. I also mined obsidian in order to make a nether highway to the village. By nighttime, I got the portal lit. Now, let's hope it doesn't link up with my old portal. Shoot. Well, that's a day 88 problem. Day 88, I began mining more obsidian to link up a portal in the nether to the village portal in the overworld. I did just that, and now I have a fully functional nether highway straight to my village, which saves me like a minute, but still. I don't like how exposed I am walking there, so I created a tunnel so gas can't shoot me. Day 89, I actually finished the day 90 sign I started on day 87. It's meant to represent the village, but you could probably already tell that if you're above the age of 7. And now it's mob farming time. Day 90 is more of the same, isn't it thrilling? That's not all I did day 90. I did start on my day 100 sign because it's a big one. I want to not only use all the blocks from my previous signs, but also just some other important blocks that were used during these 100 days. Day 91 is more of the same, but by the end this will be cool. Oh, wait, I don't have Silk Touch anymore since I lost my axe. I could spend the next day or two getting levels and trying to get Silk Touch, or, yep, light blue wool will work well enough. I placed a purple block at the very end, and so far it looks pretty cool. I want to make the middle 0 an archway, just trust the process. Day 92, I am placing random semi-important blocks on the day 100 sign. I then went back to the village to trade more. I then went back to the base to get carrots, and then went back to the village to trade. As you can see, I am being filled with an immeasurable amount of greed. I spent the entire day running back and forth between the base and the village. This nether highway is a blessing. Day 93, I placed an emerald on the day 100 sign. I feel so luxurious. I also took the dragon head off my armor stand. You'll see why later. Leaves and end bricks, 2 unimportant filler items. I also added smooth stone, a chest, and a pumpkin. At the end of the day, I added a gold ore block and birchwood. Ew. Day 94 though, I'm doing something special. As you see, 2 blocks are empty from the sign. You might not remember it, but all the way back on day 1, I left my first crafting table and furnace in the middle of nowhere, filled with some glass and coal. It has not been touched in the last 93 days, and I am finally giving them a use. There it is. The glass was still waiting for me. XP and all. It's honestly really neat seeing how far I have come, and it makes this sign all the more special. I decided to change their names as well, because why not? Boom and boom. They're up there. I also added the dragon head on the front. It's beautiful. Well, the day's not over, might as well do something. So I decided to fly west in search of just really anything. I did find something. An igloo? I thought those were added in 1.10. Nope, turns out they've been in the game since 1.0. This one even had a zombie villager. And I did the cure thingy too. Day 95 was spent in the zombie farm. The igloo had a cactus, so I placed it in my room. I also placed some carpet down to make it a little more cozy. Day 96, I took all the rotten flesh from the zombie farm and flew over to the igloo. I missed the landing and had to use old footage to find the cords, but I found it. I began trading with the cleric there while waiting for the zombie to cure. I then began breaking the stone bricks and got attacked by silverfish. There was also a cave with a ton of zombies which dead butts scared the crap out of me. Let's not talk about it. When I emerged, the sun began setting, which was really pretty in the snow biome. Thankfully there was a bed in the igloo, so I used it to go to sleep. Day 97, I added some little touches to my room. I also added more emerald blocks to the day 90 sign. It would be awesome if one day the sign was entirely made out of emeralds. I also replaced the stone in the storage room with stone bricks. I can't believe it took me 80 days. I then made my way to the village to make it look nicer. I added slabs along the edges and just overall made some little touches to it. My dream is to make a villager breeder, but I don't really know how to do it in this version yet. Maybe 200 days if this video does well enough. By the end of day 97, this village looked a lot nicer than how it started, and I am proud. Day 98 is really boring. I spent most of the day looking for a dog. No luck though. In fact, by the time I got back to my house, the sun was setting for day 99. Day 99, I just toured around my base, but cinematically. I am really proud of how far this world has come. It's really refreshing to just sit back and chill and play Minecraft, and I definitely want to revisit for 200 days. 1.9 Minecraft was really enjoyable. All versions are really enjoyable in my opinion. This game is just really fun. I enjoy what it added. It shook up the game in a fun way and made it slightly more challenging. I can see why it threw people off, however, and while change can be scary, it can also be good, and I think 1.9 wasn't as bad as some make it out to be. I love the way I changed this world. It's really cool to walk around and look at it, and I hope to continue so. Now, the sun is setting on day 99, and tomorrow is the elusive day 100. Day 100, we made it. Thank you so much for watching this video. It took many hours to make. At the time of writing this, I've put around 25 to 30 hours of work into this video, and I'm sure more will go into this work when I edit it. So if you stuck around, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also want to give a quick shout out to my friend Jake for designing the thumbnail. His work is great and his socials will be linked down in the description. Now, as they say, all good things must come to an end. Have an epic rest of your day. Goodbye.